good morning, good evening, or good night. I am Alex Ermgatz, and today, or not even today, last week we played D&D, and it was fine. It wasn't super duper interesting or anything. I foreshadowed a bit last campaign diary. The party did end up kind of following my plans, and they met Karg, the Conqueror. So yes, last time the party left the church. They gathered their friends, and they're like, "We should leave town. We could go to the city. We could go to the barbarians." And if they went to the city, I would have just kind of made a day of random encounters and called that the session. But they were like, "Yeah, let's go to the barbarian. We had some reason to go there anyway, so let's go to the barbarians. Sure, why not?" The party goes to the woods. It's not a huge woods. I think at its widest diameter, it's like 7 miles across. Go back and forth through it like 3 times in a day. But they find some tracks and they begin to follow the tracks in because barbarians in Old School Essentials have the ability to hunt or forage. And I was like, yeah, I would definitely say you could use your hunt or forage ability to kind of hunt down the barbarians that you're looking for. So they follow some tracks, and it leads them to the witch's hut. And in the witch's hut, they search around. The entire place has been ransacked. The druid finds some crystal fruit in a helmet. The helmet is a magical helmet. The crystal fruit are this tree near the center of the woods. The tree is a sort of, oh, how can I put that? It's like a, no, what? It's not important. There's a tree in the center of the woods that grows crystal fruit. The druid found this bowl of them in the witch's hut and is like, "Oh, cool. Goblin, eat one of these." And the goblin's like, "Oh, okay, cool, food." He bites it. He gone. Goblin went away. They don't know where he is. And the druid is like, "Oh, okay." They keep exploring, and every once in a while, the druid's player is like, "Is the goblin back?" I'm like, "No, he's not back." And she's like, "Shit, I know what I'm gonna do." And she takes a bite of the fruit, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna take you into the separate Discord chat." You guys all see Lilia? Gone. So I got to take the druid aside, and I got to explain to them, you are in a world with a different sky and different smells. Everything here seems to have this sort of crystalline structure to it, and you're in the courtyard garden of this massive castle you see. And the sort of centerpiece of this garden is this tree. It's a normal apple tree. And she's like, "Oh, I have an idea. I get it." She immediately cued into this apple tree being a mirror image of some tree that created the crystal fruit. And so she went over and she ate, and she grabbed down an apple from the, or she grabbed down 2 apples, one for her, one for the goblin, who was still in the garden, tossed an apple to the goblin and be like, "Do as I do." They both took a bite. They flashed right back into what I should have had them do. Now, hindsight is 50-50, and I should have had them appear by the tree instead of back in the witch's hut, but oh well. It would have only been a slightly interesting challenge. If anything, they shouldn't have appeared in the courtyard at all. They should have appeared possibly in like an occupied witch's hut in the realm of the Fae. They were in Elfame, which the elf knew. If it was any other character, I'd be like, you have no clue where you are. You can make several educated guesses, but you do not know. They get back. They find the corpse of the witch who used to live in this hut. They are everything but ahead, and the party's like, "Ah, shit." So they look around more. They find tracks following the river this time, a different set of tracks. And they follow these tracks to the barbarian camp. They meet the barbarian leader, and they sort of negotiate for their allowance to stay there. And Karg, the Conqueror, the barbarian leader, has the head of the witch, and the witch is sort of helpful. They would be helpful to the party, but the party does not want to anger Karg, so they're sort of in an impasse. and they were originally assigned here to stop Karg from invading the town, and Karg is, guess what, planning on invading the town, and they have very little time to zero in and try and figure out how do we stop Karg from invading the town. I've given them information as to Karg's motivation, and what it really comes down to with Karg is this is just his way of life. This is how he lives his life, and he likes living his life this way. He has these people he needs to take care of, and he takes care of them by raiding towns. That is what he is good at. He is not good at starting a farm. He is not good at other things. He's good at raiding towns and foraging. He is a hunter and a gatherer. And he is good at both of those things. He is not good at the delineations of those things that we call civilization. He does not see merit in following those. He sees merit in sticking to his current ways because they work. Karg is doing the things he does because he was pushed from his homelands, the homelands that surrounded the mountain under which his god sleeps. So he's just living here, biding his time until he can build up a large enough tribe to go back on and try and take his land back. The people who came in and kicked out the Boarheart barbarian tribe are using that land to mine. They're mining in the mountains. They cut down the trees. They develop it for farming, and it horrifies the barbarian tribe. And at the same time, they're slaughtering and kicking these barbarians off of their land because the barbarians have been raiding the town there for years. Like, oh, this town exists? We're just gonna go take stuff from it. They're taking stuff from the environment. We take stuff from the town, as well as the environment. Hopefully, if we take enough stuff from them, they'll die and stop taking stuff from the environment. We can take stuff from the environment because we are blessed by the fish. Is Karg's way of thinking, and I don't know if the party fully understands that yet. I hope they come to understand it, or they sort of get an inkling of it, but I don't think they're not seeing this through Karg's eyes. They're trying to mediate when they don't understand either side. The party had 2 days staying with the barbarian tribe. I'm debating flat out giving them more information about Karg. They stay there for 2 days. The other barbarian and Karg had a bit of a moment where they each talked about their homelands, so that it was fun to develop where Grond came from. He came from the Emperor's Spine Mountains to the south, and he sort of comes from a similar situation. As within living memory, the area south of the Emperor's Spine used to be lush and green like everything up here, until the Crimson Imperator's wizard showed up and pulled these crystalline meteors out of the sky, and they would shatter on impact, and they'd cover the land in like silicon salt. It basically killed everything and turned it into a desert. Grond has a very similar point of view, and they had a little bit of relation there, but not enough for Karg to trust them with the head, not enough for them to get anything done. They sort of just understand each other a bit more now. I don't know what's going to happen next. They want to go talk to the townspeople and get some leverage from them. Be like, hey, what can we give the barbarians? The barbarians are chaotic society. They believe you should get what you earn. And that means typically through combat. It doesn't always have to be. The barbarian rhetoric scene is stellar. But the barbarians they're not going to accept payment. Maybe if the townsfolk just give them things. And you're like, we showed strength, we instilled fear, we've earned this. But they're not going to take, like, money. Barbarians do want money. The barbarians want supplies, they want money. Because money, they'll eventually travel around, and they send people off into the towns to buy shit with all the money they steal from, like, caravans or from raids. The party, it was a very simple session. The party went to go find the witch, they went and found the witch, and now they're trying to stop this conflict between the humans and the barbarians, which I don't know if it is possible. It's going to be a lot of me kind of reading the situation in the moment from both sides and knowing how those people would behave. if they do end up getting in contact with the witch's head, the witch's head has several options. They're like, yeah, I could regrow your arm, but you would be indebted to me forever. I don't think you want that. So, from the kindness of my heart, I will tell you what else you could go. You could go to the land of the elves, or you could go to a human city, or maybe to the dwarves. The dwarves are excellent mechanists, and they could probably build you a hand. Which that would be interesting if they end up trying to go to the dwarven stronghold out to the east. If you're watching right now, I'm your biggest fan, and thank you for watching.